Hi everyone, welcome to the channel and this week's episode. And for those who are new to my channel, my name's Andrew Balcombe. I'm an Australian stock photographer and videographer, and I've been based in the Netherlands for around 21 years. And I came to the Netherlands because I met a Dutch girl many years ago, and I've been living here with her and our kids ever since. The Netherlands is a great place for stock photography and also photojournalism. And the reason I love it so much is it's a very busy place and there's a lot going on. So it's in Northwest Europe. It's the heart of the logistics network of Europe, with Rotterdam as the biggest port. Where I live is on the coast, so I have ready access to Rotterdam or other harbours, and also beaches and other coastal features. And half an hour away, or even 10 minutes away, I'm in a forest. The Netherlands, even though it's busy, it does offer also wildlife and nature. And so I could jump in the car and an hour I can be amongst roaring fallow deer stags or red deer. I think the red deer are about 2 hours away, but the fallow deer aren't that far away. And it's also a birder's paradise. The Netherlands is a migratory, on the migratory route. So you get a lot of migratory birds travelling from Russia and the Arctic and Scandinavia down to Africa, and vice versa in the springtime. And you also have a lot of resident birds here that you don't find, say, in the UK. There's a good sized breeding population of storks and other birds of prey. Yeah, so I just love it. You've also got tons of international events taking place in the Netherlands when there's not a pandemic on. So I always took advantage of these international events when I was a photojournalist. And now that I'm a stock photographer and videographer, I also go there to see what opportunities there are to sell my images. Today we're doing my monthly earnings for the month of October. And we'll start off with the stock agency Dreamstime. With Dreamstime I have 2,113 images and a handful of videos. And this month, for the month of October, I made 8 sales. The highlights of the month for Dreamstime was that of a VW van that I photographed during a VW event a couple of years ago, and it was on the coast of the beach, and that photo earned me $4.12. It was sold as a maximum size and I received a 30% royalty for that photo, and that was a great little surprise for Dreamstime. Overall for Dreamstime I earned $6.34, which is not so pleasing. I've had better months. Now, before I get into the rest of the figures, I'll just give a little qualifying statement saying that October wasn't my best month. However, there is one huge surprise for me with one of the agencies, which turned a very poor month into a not so bad month, or a pretty good month. October is not a good month for a couple of factors. The travel industry has gone downhill, so a lot of my travel photos haven't sold. And also I think the economies of a lot of countries and continents such as Europe, Asia and the US have suffered because of the COVID crisis. And that has reflected directly in my sales. It has been this case for the last 8 months or so. However, every now and then it picks up, and I think overall when the COVID epidemic is over, then my stock photography and videography sales will go back up. It's about weathering the storm. So I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going and persevere, even though at the moment it's tough. Okay, for the next agency, 123RF, I sold 6 photos and my portfolio is 1400 images large. The highlight for 123RF was also of a VW Combi. This one was in a portrait or vertical mode, and it was a blue VW Combi with a roof rack on it, and I think there was a kid's toy on the roof as well. So that event has really been a fantastic earner for me. It took place a couple of years ago, and the VW Classic Car event takes place every year. But of course this year it got cancelled, so I couldn't add to my VW portfolio, which was really disappointing. Hopefully next May it will go ahead again, fingers crossed. That photo earned me $2.18. And in total I earned $3.25 for 123RF. Now on to Big Stock, where I have 1700 images in my portfolio. This month, or in October, I only made 2 sales and I totaled 75 cents in sales. So it was pretty disappointing. For deposit photos, I have a portfolio of 1865 images and a few videos, although I've never sold a video on deposit photos. I think over the next 2-3 years that will probably change as the trend for more video comes into the broader market. These smaller sites will also start selling more videos. I sold 5 photos on deposit photos in October and I earned a total of $2.56. Can stock earned me 0 in October, and IEM I earned 17 cents from 1 sale of the usual mustard pot. Just reflecting on those small agencies of 123RF, Big Stock, Deposit Photos, Can Stock, Dreamstime, I'm tempted to drop those agencies, or not drop them, just not contribute any more to them. But the lower earnings for those agencies is also reflected in the economic slump at the moment. So when times were good, I was making, between $30 and, well, actually between $20 and $50 a month off those agencies. And I think when the economy turns around and pandemic drops, then those sales figures will go back up. So I'm not going to stop contributing to them, even though the figures aren't rewarding me for my efforts at the moment. For Pond5, I have 195 videos in my portfolio, and I made 1 sale in October for $12.75, and that was of the gannet stranded on the beach. For Adobe stock, I have 855 images in my portfolio, 42 videos, and I made a whopping $1.32 in October. There were no highlights. It's pretty disappointing, but as I'll talk about later, I haven't uploaded any videos or photos to Adobe in the past month, and maybe that is also reflected in my figures. For IStock Getty, I have 1246 images and a couple of dozen videos. I made 18 sales in October, and there were a couple of highlights. I sold 2 videos of the gannet on the beach. One was for $8 and one was for $7.58. There was also a low light, and that was a photo of honey being poured onto a spoon. And I made a video about doing that photo, and I also took video during that episode. That honey pick only earned me 7 cents, so that was a real low light. But I did get a couple of video sales, which was encouraging. In total, I earned $22.88 on iStock Getty. Shutterstock this month, it was not my highest earning agency. My highest earning agency for October will be coming up after Shutterstock. I have 2142 images on Shutterstock and 111 videos. It wasn't a particularly good month for Shutterstock. There were some highlights and definitely some lowlights. The lowlights were, of those 57 uploads or downloads or sales, the majority of them were under 20 cents subscription sales for photos, which really brought my numbers down. There were also a number of highlights. One highlight was of a photo of a line of beef cattle all staring at me and wondering what this strange human was up to. And that photo sold for $2.41. And a really good result was of a photo of some smoked eels I took at a market, which all these smoked eels were lined up in this brown box. And the image is pretty visually pleasing because you get a lot of gold of the smoked skin. If you're a vegetarian, it's probably less so attractive, but it gives a real texture to the photo. And that photo sold on demand for $4.16, which I was really happy about. There was another highlight of a photo of Amsterdam Central Station with people riding bikes past, and that sold on demand for $2.16. So there were some ups and downs with Shutterstock, and it really reflects the current environment, I think. In total for October, I made $28.09 from Shutterstock. Now for my highest earning agency for the month of October, and that is Alamy. Surprise, surprise, I never expected Alamy to outdo Shutterstock or any of the other, maybe IStock or Adobe. But this month I got really lucky. I can only put it down to luck. Because for several months Alamy has not been performing for me, you know, due to a number of factors. So I've never expected very much, but this month it hit it out of the ballpark for me. I sold 2 pictures for relatively good prices. The first is a photo that I took in Tasmania about 4 to 5 years ago, and I was in the ancient tall trees forest of Tasmania. And these tall trees are massive giant eucalyptus trees that grow to up to, I think, 90 meters in length. Don't quote me on that, but they're bloody tall. And I just took the photo looking up into the forest canopy, and it gave an interesting effect. Plus, Tasmania is at the end of the world, so a lot of people don't get to go there, especially now. So a photo of a rare place within another rare place, or rare forest within a rare place, that is Tasmania, generally will have a fairly good chance of being uploaded by a customer. I made $10 from that sale for the tall trees in Tasmania, and I also made another photo sale which really, I'm not sure if it's my record sale on Alamy. I have to check that out, but it's certainly up there. But before I go on and illuminate you about that photo, I'm just wondering if you guys find this interesting or not. If you do, why don't you whap on that like button, and if you think these kinds of videos are for you and can help you in the long term with your stock photography and videography, maybe it's a good idea to subscribe to my channel as well. I have over 50 videos now, and I go in depth into stock photography and stock videography, my earnings, my techniques, trends, and changing tack to try and make as much money out of my portfolios as possible. So if you find those kinds of things helpful, then jump into my archive and feel free to subscribe to my channel. And now, without further ado, let's get into the highest paying photo of October, and that is of a cruise ship that was taken in Amsterdam Harbour, I think about a year ago. And I work in Amsterdam 4 days a week, so I often keep my eye on what's going on around the waterfront or around the city, and sometimes I'll duck out at lunchtime and I'll just photograph stuff that's happening. And this was the case with the cruise ship. I think it was the Scandinavian cruise liner, the Viking Star or something. And this photo sold, I guess, because the cruise industry has really taken a nosedive during the COVID pandemic. And a lot of people are suffering who are working in that industry. The environment probably is not suffering so much because the cruise industry is not known for its environmentally friendly nature. But definitely there are a lot of people suffering who work on these cruise liners or in the travel industry in general. So that could have been reflected in a news outlet. And that's the reason why this photo probably sold, I'm guessing. Anyway, for that photo I earned a whopping $119, which put a smile on my face for a couple of days and really dragged my earnings out of the mud for October, which was unexpected and totally a fluke and lucky. But I'll take that. That's what you get in stock photography. Sometimes you get lucky. Okay, how much did I earn in total for the month of October? Before I talk about that, I'll just put a few qualifying remarks in. That this month I was super busy with things that were rushing over me that had to be dealt with, and I did not have time to upload any photos or videos. Except for my YouTube channel, of course, which I'm trying to grow. But even though I didn't upload anything this month, the last 3.5 to 4 years I ritually uploaded as many photos every week and as many videos every week in the last 2 years as I could. So in order to get to this area of passive income, I worked really hard for a number of years. So when you think about passive income, you may think that you receive money while you're still asleep in bed. But to get to that stage, you have to work hard and you have to work long for up to a number of years. And that's what I did. This month, I put zero amount of work into my stock photography and stock videography, but I still earned in total for October $219.18, and that is for zero amount of work, which for me shows me that passive income is working for me. If the pandemic wasn't taking place and probably this global slump wasn't happening, that $219 could be $319 or $519, who knows. And getting that amount of money for zero amount of hours work really is rewarding. I cannot let rest on my laurels though, because I have to keep uploading. So if I have more months where I get overrun by other circumstances, that I'm in a good position to still earn money. But if I have the time to upload and I don't, then I'm wasting an opportunity for when a difficult month comes along later and I don't have time to upload, but I can still earn money. Anyway guys, that was a long ramble, sorry about that. If you liked the video, whap on that like button and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week in the next video.